in 2019, I was like, okay, I'm not waiting anymore. It's been long enough. I'm going to make this film.
There's an American filmmaker named Alanna Brown. I follow her on Instagram, and for the last 2 years, I've been tracking her progress on her first feature film, Trees of Peace. Not only has she made and finished Trees of Peace, it actually just won 2 awards at the Santa Barbra Film Festival. So I reached out and we had a little chat and interview about how she went from concept trailer to feature film. Can you start by just telling us a little bit about the film?
The film is called Trees of Peace, and it is about 4 women from very different backgrounds and belief systems who all find themselves trapped and hiding together during the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda in 1994. And their fight for survival forges an unbreakable sisterhood.
That's awesome. What made you want to write the script?
So maybe 10 years ago, I was, my day job was copywriting, and I was doing a journalistic piece for an online magazine, interviewing a woman who had founded a Trade Not Aid initiative in Rwanda to help rehabilitate women survivors. And in researching to interview her, I just started coming across these really just gripping stories of women hiding in the most extraordinary circumstances. I mean, just people hiding in the most extraordinary circumstances that you could imagine to survive. And that just really, it was so compelling, these stories of survival and the will to live. And then also discovering then that Rwanda has the highest percentage of women appointed to government of any country in the world, to me, just floored me. I was absolutely amazed by that fact. And I just felt like, that this women's side of the story of this genocide has not been told and needs to be told.
Like, what year did you write the first draft? Do you remember?
2012 was when I started the script.
Okay. Yeah. And did you know that this was the first film that you wanted to make, or did you have something else in mind?
No, this was it. I knew this was the first feature script I ever wrote.
Oh, okay.
So this is my, so this was, I had written a short film before this, and I decided to write this as my first feature. It was just that moving of a story to me that I just became basically obsessed. I think you kind of have to become obsessed to be able to write and see a film through to production and to get it made and to direct it on in the independent realm. So it was just such a labor of love, and I just again became obsessed with the story. And it was funny because I'd never went to film school, so it was really such a learning process for me. Yeah. And writing the script taught me a lot about the screenwriting process.
Yeah. So before you made this, is it right that you made one short film and then the teaser for Trees of Peace? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. And so so that's awesome. That's great. So you felt ready to make a feature film from making one short?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome, because I've made like 15 shorts and I still haven't made my feature yet. So I think that's awesome that you felt confident. And it looks absolutely beautiful. I saw the teaser as well.
You.
Oh, okay. So good. So can you tell us a little bit about the journey and sort of the hardships of trying to get it up? So how long did it take you to get it up, basically?
All those years. I mean, so I would say that I started the script in 2012. I'd say I finished it in 2014, meaning it was in shape to, I'd gotten lots of feedback. It had 2 years of writing. It goes through the gamut, and of building the script and then tearing it down again and rebuilding it, and the note cards and the just, breaking it down and building it up again. And so that was a 2-year process, and getting notes, from multiple people, and then had a table read in 2014, where I rented a little theater and had a pretty nice size audience, and had a cast to go ahead and go through the table read, and this was kind of a moment of truth to see what the feedback would be, and it was really, really well received. So that was an exciting point for me. Another kind of marker for me was along my research journey. So there was a lot of what's at our fingertips, which is Google and the internet. A lot of that, YouTube, watching videos, and films, documentaries about the genocide and so forth, but also finding a female survivor of the genocide who actually at the time lived outside of Los Angeles. Now she lives in Oregon, but she welcomed me to her home, and I went and visited her, and she told me her story, and I met her children, and I met her mother. and she read the script and she loved it. She thought it was a beautiful story. And so having her sort of blessing was like, what I needed to feel like, okay, I can keep going forward with this. And so from there, once the script felt like it was solid, I decided to enter it into a contest. So I entered it into a contest called the Tracking Board Launchpad Features Contest. You've heard of it? Yeah. So it's a legit contest. That's one that I really
did you highly win? Or?
I did. Yeah. The script was a finalist.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Top 25. Yeah. It was a top 25 finalist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it got me an agent and it got me a manager, and it just, it really sort of catapulted things for me with regard to the visibility of the project and in the industry. Granted, it didn't move the needle on getting the film made, but it moved the needle, I'd say, on my confidence and feeling like this is a really worthy story.
Yeah.
And so so I went on a ton of meetings, and nothing really happened. And then I was like, okay, well, no one's wanting to make this story, so I'm going to make it myself, which I had always known that I was going to do, since I wrote it contained for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a one location film.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, I'll shoot a concept trailer for it and see if that moves the needle. So I had a lookbook, I had a concept trailer, all the things to try to entice people to trust me as a director and to trust my vision.
Yeah.
But of course, as a first-time director and as a female director, we know that that's really, really hard. To get people to back you, to get financing. So then I did a Kickstarter campaign. Mm-hmm. Once it was like the needle was just not moving, I did a Kickstarter campaign. I raised $65,000.
Right.
Yeah, that was really hard. A Kickstarter campaign was it was insane. It was a lot of work. Don't recommend doing that unless you have a partner to run the campaign with you.
Yeah, it's hard.
After the Kickstarter campaign, I got a producer on board, mm-hmm. and she was ready to, we were ready to make this film the real, kind of indie micro budget way with this tiny amount of money. And then it was so funny that sort of different producers of higher stature, I guess you could say, or just more experience and more connections and resources started kind of coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
And started to kind of approach me.
From the teaser? Sorry to interrupt.
From the teaser, from just my efforts and just the word really getting out that I was doing this, and friends of friends and people who would show people, and then they'd be like, oh, they'd see the teaser and then ask for the script, and they'd say, this is a great script, and want to attach. And so I had a couple different attachment deals with fantastic producers that I really hoped, would be able to push the film forward, and they unfortunately were not able to. Mm-hmm. So that was like 2 years.
Wow. Just
waiting for more money. And I felt like this project deserved a higher budget because of the story.
Yeah.
So just waiting all that time. And then finally in 2019, I was like, okay, I'm not waiting anymore. It's been long enough. I'm going to make this film this year, I decided. So I started planning my trip to Rwanda. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I had also started building my Instagram.
Yeah.
Because Vicky, the producer who I had met in 2017, was like, once this film is done, you're going to need to have a following, mm-hmm. because festivals want to see that you can put butts in seats, because they have a bottom line as well. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing the Instagram thing, and that was a lot of work as well to build a following, to do that whole thing.
Your
and
Instagram
it was funny because
so great though. It's so good. As a filmmaker and a creative, it's just nice to follow someone else's journey. So I'm glad that you started it. Because that's how I found
me
you.
too. Yeah, especially. Yeah. It's great to meet other artists. I mean, I had no idea what a tool it could be until I was like kind of forced to do it.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually met the producer who ended up bringing financing to the project. He came across something that I had posted, and we just started up a conversation. Yeah. And I ended up sending him the concept trailer and the script, and he loved it. And he had access to private equity financing, and wow. He brought in a lot more money than what I was planning to make it with. And within a few months, we were set to to start going into pre-production.
Were you so excited, or were you kind of like, wrapped up in the?
I realized I have something in my hair. Sorry. I'm like, oh no.
You're right.
I just changed my shirt. So, okay, sorry. Continue.
So when the funding came through, like, how did you feel? Were you relieved? Were you excited? Were you nervous? Like, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I was really excited. I mean, this was like the dream come true, like the moment I had been waiting for. But there's such ups and downs. It's such a roller coaster the whole way that it was like, I kind of didn't trust it. I didn't really fully believe it. It was funny in the beginning. I thought he was catfishing me. Like, the producer's his name's Ron. And I just thought, this is weird. This is just too good to be true. Exactly. Exactly. And I you get to a point on the journey where you kind of become, at the start, you're like excited, and then you get really low when things don't work out, and you get so excited, and then you get really low when things don't work out. And you go through enough of that, you realize you have to just be in it, not for the result, but for the journey and for the love of what you're making. And so detaching from outcomes and just being like, well, I'm just here to do the work, and I'm going to do the work, and what comes is what comes. And I just have to trust that that's okay. And that what I'm doing, I'm following my heart, as an artist. And so at the point when he came along, I was kind of like, I was excited. I was super excited, but I was also kind of numb to the journey. So, and distrustful, like I said. So I think, we were like crewing up. I was hiring my heads of departments, and we were casting, and I was just like expecting it to fall through. I was just like, this isn't really happening. Maybe I'll believe it when we're on set on day one, like something's going to go wrong, just because it feels like it always does. Something, there's these promises or these almosts, so many almosts, and then it just falls through. It doesn't happen. So it was really exciting. And there were definitely also those moments of like imposter syndrome during pre-production, where I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm about to, what, like these people are investing this money in me, and I have to make a film now. Like, what have I done? But yeah, those were fleeting, luckily. Yeah.
Can I just quickly talk about casting? So is anyone from the cast from the teaser, did they make the feature film or no? Did you cast new people?
The Tongai, the character who plays Francois, is from the concept trailer. I wanted to cast African actresses. And the in the concept trailer, they're African American.
Got you. So that makes sense. So how did you do casting? Did you have a casting director?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I hired a casting director. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Zora DeHorter. She was great.
Yeah. And how did you find the actual shoot? I'm sure it would have been exhausting. How many days did you shoot?
We shot for 20 days.
Yeah.
I would say, yes, it was exhausting, but exhilarating. Yeah. I mean, for me, like, it's like talking like the roller coaster analogy again, if you love roller coasters, say, or did as a kid, it's a place that it's just this thing that's like so thrilling and exhilarating. It's so fun. And you wait in line that whole time just to ride that ride for like 30 seconds or whatever it is, or like 60 seconds. And that's really what it is for me. I mean, like, directing is strangely and really sort of, I guess, kind of fascinating to me, because I'm an introverted person, but it's like the place where I feel most comfortable.
Yeah.
I just feel like I belong doing it, and I love it so much. It like feels like home. And so it's so fun, like exhausting. Absolutely. I mean, getting home, having to prepare for the next day's shoot, because even though you're super prepared, and you have your shot list, and everything is like pre-planned, everything is prepared, but day-to-day things change, and you have to adjust your shot list. You have to do this, or you have to do that. If you didn't get all the scenes were trying to get yesterday, you have to make up time and cut certain things and reconfigure what you thought you were going to get, or this thing's, you're watching dailies and you're going, oh, this really isn't working the way I thought it was going to work. So let's let's reconfigure whatever we had planned. And so at night, you leave a 12-hour day, go home, plan for the next day, and then wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But like, I've never been so happy to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning for anything in my life. It's like the best thing ever. It was so fun.
So once you finished the film, did you have a one festival that you really wanted to get into? Because I know that you got into Santa Barbara, which is amazing, and you won two in that. But did you have like another festival that you really wanted to get into?
Yeah, the dream was Sundance.
Yeah, same. That's my dream.
Of course, Sundance is like, I think that's kind of, it's probably a lot of filmmakers' dream festival, I think, probably for the most part.
Have you ever been? Have you ever just been?
I've been, I have. Yeah. I've been twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's another, similar to like Instagram, like it's another really amazing place to just meet people and network.
Yeah.
It was like beyond my expectations of just how fun it was, how, again, because I'm an introvert, so I was like, like networking, like being in a room of strangers is like my nightmare. So I was like, I don't want to be thrust into these rooms of strangers, but it's just like this energy just in these Sundance parties, the energy just really flows. People just come up to you and start talking to you. And like, it's just very easy. It's shocking. It's like, and it's so fun. And everyone's there for the same thing and loves film and, has some form of, creative, process in filmmaking that it's just, it's a really cool dynamic. Have you been?
I have. Well, I'm in Australia, so no, I haven't. But it's on my list. Like, I want to get in with one of my films, either with a short or a feature, and I just want to go. Like in general, it just looks amazing. I also love snow as well, so it's my two favorite things: film and snow.
Oh, cool.
But it's definitely on my goal list. So I'm gonna hopefully I'll get in one day. So I'm assuming that you entered then and didn't get in.
We entered with it wasn't the final cut of the film. The film wasn't finished, unfortunately, in time to submit because of COVID. So we finished the film end of 2020, started editing. We were in the edit and COVID hit, so that threw everything out of whack. So it put the schedule back. And it was good in some ways because it kind of gave us more time to edit because everything in the industry was slowed down, but it also made things take longer.
Yeah.
So the deadline was, I think, October 3rd or something like that. And we didn't finish the film till very end of December 2020.
Yeah.
So it was almost, we shot in end of the year 2019. It was over a full year before we were finished with post.
Yeah.
And that's also, I think it comes with the territory with independent filmmaking. If you don't have a ton of money, things just take more time. Yeah. So the edit took a full 13 months. And so we submitted an unfinished cut, and, wasn't finished sound design or music, et cetera. I mean, who knows if a finished cut would have gotten into Sundance or not, but we figured we should submit rather than not. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah,
100%. That's great. And then you got into Santa Barbara. And won. Can you tell me did you win the whole thing and then you won an audience award? What did you win? Can you tell me?
The film won the top jury award. So the independent dramatic competition. It's called the Panavision Indie Spirit Award for independent cinema. And also another award called that the Anti-Defamation League sponsors. So the ADL Stand-Up Award.
That's amazing. How did you feel?
Yeah.
Were you just
oh my god
excited? Yeah,
I screamed when I found out. I was so excited because Santa Barbara is it's a
good festival.
It's a really high level mid-tier festival. I mean, it's listed by Studio Binder as one of the top 10 festivals in the United States.
Yeah.
So it's not Sundance, but it's still a really and also granted it was a COVID year, but in other years it's a really well attended festival. I think because it's close to LA, so a lot of stars go, a lot of press, a lot of buyers. Usually this year was different because again, COVID, but still a really, really awesome festival. And it's one that, so once you go through the festival circuit, or maybe you already have, well, you haven't with a feature, but
I have with shorts. Yeah.
Right. I don't know if it's true of shorts, but with features, depending on the level of the festival, it has to be your premiere. Mm-hmm. So some festivals require premiere status. So we had gotten into other festivals that we submitted to before Santa Barbara that we ended up withdrawing from, because while they were really great festivals, also other really awesome mid-tier festivals, we were kind of just gunning for a little bit of a higher level festival. And then when we got into Santa Barbara, which is also requires premiere, status, we were like, okay, this is the one. This is like a great festival.
Yeah.
So, you know, we could have like held out for Tribeca or held out for other festivals later this year, but we decided not to. We decided that Santa Barbara was where and it's local, you know, for me and my friends and family. So it was just a really cool event and a cool experience.
Yeah, you should be
and then
so
to win.
Yeah.
And to win was like, oh my God.
So awesome. Are you going to play at any other festivals?
Yes, we are screening at Phoenix, which is another solid mid-tier festival, which is in August, and then up until then, there are others that we've submitted to that we're waiting to hear back from. So
cool.
we're waiting to hear back. But yeah, there are other late summer, fall festivals that we're hoping to get into.
Do you have a distribution plan right now?
We're in talks with distribution. So we're repped by UTA. The film is repped at UTA with a sales agent there. Yeah. And the film is being looked at and being shopped around. And so we're in that process right now. But the distribution plan is yet to be determined.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Yeah. So you started as an actor. Do you still have passion for acting, or are you still more focused on filmmaking?
Definitely more focused on filmmaking. Yeah. I'm interested in acting for sure. I have such a respect and an awe for what actors do. Mm-hmm. I think what they do is just incredible. For me, acting doesn't come, not to say directing or writing comes easily. It doesn't by any means, because it's such a hard process. Yeah. But for some reason, it's something that I'm like, the work with acting it's a lot of work for me as well. And I'm just more willing and interested in the work that it takes to write a thing or direct a thing. Like that work is just more, I spark to it more for some reason. Mm-hmm. Acting, I do think is super fun, getting to play in that space. And it's something that I think I'll return to someday. I'll probably get back into a scene study class, also because acting informs directing so much. So like so much of what I bring to directing comes from what I learned in scene study class in the past. Yeah. So so that's something that I would be open to going back to.
In 2018, you made the Blacklist.
I actually never submitted to the Blacklist, like to the online portal or whatever it is. I had my script, The 29th Accident, and it, I had an agent, and it went out around town. It went on across all the desks, and I had lots of meetings and whatnot, as happens with, when you write a spec, and you get all the meetings and all the general meetings and whatnot. And the Blacklist is the top list of the industry voted top. That year it was 75. I think it fluctuates every year. I think sometimes it's 100. That year was the top 75 scripts, unproduced screenplays. Excuse me. And I guess it just enough producers and executives had read it that when it came time for voting, people voted on my script. So
that's incredible.
It was December of 2018, and my managers called me and said, "You made the Blacklist." And I was like, "Oh my God, what?" Yeah. It was a nice surprise.
Yeah, because it's so prestigious. Like, I can't even imagine. Because every year I download the scripts from the Blacklist and I read them, and all of them are so awesome, because they are all so different. Like, everyone has a really distinct writing style, and so congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you. And I think I read an article that like 50% of the produced screenplays from the Blacklists go on to become Oscar nominated scripts. And so there was a script making, I think it was Variety. An article making a case for, like, once that list comes out, just all of those scripts should just get produced because of the odds of them, because of the track record of the success and the critical response to them.
Yeah, so. For sure. Would you want to make that film, or is that not on your list?
Yeah, that's my next
one.
That's my next project. Yeah.
Awesome. So that's awesome. Do you have any advice for short filmmakers who are wanting to make their first feature?
Oh man, any advice for short filmmakers? I think. Well, one thing I would say, I didn't do this, but I think I've seen other people do this, and I think it's a really good pathway. Is if you have a feature in mind, to make it as a short first. Yeah. and screen it at festivals and get it some visibility, I think that would give you a boost. It would give you a little bit of a head start if you have those laurels literally to rest on. Yes. To say, your project is somewhat proven, you have this, especially if you're a first time feature director, to that you've proven yourself. For me, like I thought a concept trailer would be enough, and it did end up being the tool that I was, that entrusted me to those financiers. But I think a short, you can't take a concept trailer to festivals. So, and there's no, you can't really get accolades, like formal accolades for a concept trailer. So I would say, and a short can be really short, like it could be 5 minutes. Yeah. So I think that's a good way to approach a feature. And you'd said my advice to short filmmakers wanting to make a feature. Is that the question?
Yeah. Maybe just someone who is trying to get the first feature film up as well, and maybe going through some ups and downs. Because it's hard emotionally. I'm in that stage right now.
For sure.
Best feature film, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard. Oh, trust me, I know. Yeah, I think also just like on that level, like on the emotional level, just believing in yourself. Because I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's like, it's true. At the end of the day, no one's going to care more than you. Yeah. No one's going to love this project more than you do, even once you get it made. Like with Trees of Peace, this is a small example, but I mean, for instance, the film has subtitles, and I was the one QCing the subtitles at the end of the day, like me. Watching the film, I've already seen this film 1,000 times, and it's me who's watching the film again to make sure the subtitles are correct. You know, like on an independent level, you're the one who does everything. Yeah. And so I think just knowing that's what the mantle that you're going to bear, and well, again, just believing in yourself and your project, no matter how much rejection you get, no matter how many no's you hear, no matter how many doors are slammed in your face, because it only takes one yes. And it's so true. It really does. And you never know when that's going to come. But until then, networking is another big piece of advice. Like again, the introvert thing, just thought, that I would make it on merit, that I'd make something good enough that it didn't matter who I knew or who I didn't know, but who is everything. Yeah. Yeah. That's really is. It's the people that make the difference. And so any chance you can get to get out there, talk to people, meet people. There's a new app called Clubhouse that I've been on, that, you just get in a room and just talk to people, and that's the way to go. Instagram, again, like I've met my producer on Instagram who brought the money. I've met some really incredible filmmakers and artists on Instagram. So yeah. That's awesome. That's great advice. And it's great too that you put your film out there before it was made, like on Instagram. If you didn't do that, you probably wouldn't have met the producer. So right. Yeah. So that's completely. That's great advice. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's it. That's all my questions. Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for reaching out. Oh, of course. Thank you for doing it. And I really want to see Trees of Peace as well. So I tried to see it with Santa Barbara, but it wasn't available in Australia. Right. But, right. I'll keep an eye on your Instagram and see like when it's available, because I want to see it. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Hopefully it'll have an international premiere. We're submitting to Melbourne as well. Oh, you are? So, that's our hugest festival here. Oh, great. Yeah. I hope you get in there. Yeah, me too. That'd be really amazing. I love that you're submitting it here. That's so good. That's great. Yeah. I mean, Melbourne's a huge festival. Yeah. Which, we're aware of, that it's a, really highly regarded festival. And then we've got Ella Cannon and Charmaine Bingwa is also from Australia as well. So some of our actresses are Australian. So that's great. Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope that inspired you to go out there and make your first short film or your first feature film. It definitely inspired me. I'm a year and a half into trying to get my first feature film up, and it can be
really, really frustrating and really, really hard. But talking to Alanna just sort of, you know, put a little bit of a spark in my boutte. So thank you, Alanna, for taking the time to chat with me. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got something out of it, and I will see you on my next video.